The Chucky TV series may not have been perfect from a critic standpoint, but it was everything I wanted as a Chucky fan. Welcome to Fantasy Films. If you're new here, I'm Kevin, and I absolutely loved the Chucky TV series. Again, it was everything I wanted as a fan. I know it may not be perfect to the critic standpoint of things, but it was perfect enough for me. The thing about the Chucky series is that they got Chucky himself right. They got his personality right. They got the kills right. They got his sarcastic attitude right. That was important. I really was worried, being it was a network show, that they wouldn't get his sick, sarcastic sense of humor to really be portrayed properly on a network show. But they did. They even dropped plenty of F-bombs, and everything was just as it was in the movies. So if you were worried about if they were going to tone Chucky down, they didn't. You got the full-blown Chucky experience. And that was, to me, 80% of the show. If you didn't have that, the whole show would have been ruined. But they did, and I think it was great. The show picks up right where the cult of Chucky ends. I mean, that's several years later, but it still feels like a continuation of the franchise. It isn't some weird spin-off that they just kind of threw at you. I'm like, oh, they want Chucky, let's just give them something with Chucky in it. No, this actually has a continued story. So that's really good. Now, the main cast, it's different. And there were people who weren't crazy on the fact that the main character was gay and was trying to really figure out who he was and accept his self and feel comfortable in his own skin. And they wanted more, let's just say, less politics. But if you're the kind of person who's worried about something like that, this is not the show for you, because they really nailed the character. I love the role that he played. I think they adapted it completely in a way that even brought Chucky into it. There was a point where Chucky actually had to talk about that, having a gay son, which we all know is Glenn. So, I mean, this is very unique to the franchise, but I think they nailed the execution. And the one thing that I really loved was the way they brought the new characters in and meshed them with existing characters from the franchise, from the very original movie. I mean, we all know that Tiffany is back in the series. She knocks it out of the park with her performance in here. So they're, in that sense, really well done. The part that was kind of hit or miss for me, and I'm not going to do any spoilers here, there was a lot of flashback scenes. And I think flashback scenes worked out really well. They filled in some blanks for if you haven't seen the franchise, which, one, not even going to do it if you haven't seen the franchise, just let's not start that fight. Anyway, but if you haven't seen it and you're just jumping into the series, the flashbacks fill in those gaps and help you understand the origins of Charles Lee Ray, how he got to where he was, and even some more info on him and Tiffany and their beginnings. But I think they went a little overboard with the flashbacks, and that's the only quarrel I had, is to have a flashback, fill in some gaps, get back to the story. Some of the flashbacks were a little too long, and I feel like it changed the tone of the series. The series itself overall has a really good tone, a really good flow, and it's just kind of gets messed up a little bit when you stretch that flashback out really long. But that's the only major quarrel I have with it. The kills in here are fantastic. There's lots of different styles of kills. There are some old classics. There's some new twisted ones. But I think what we have to look forward to is that there's no dull moments. There's no dull episodes. I thoroughly enjoyed every episode. Each one you can look forward to at least one kill. And I don't think that's a big spoiler for anybody. You get at least one kill in every episode. And Chucky's just doing what Chucky does best. I mean, It's hard to describe what that is between the sarcasm and the killing and the tons and tons of stabbings, because you know he loves his knives, but it's very much Chucky, and this is the best way I can explain it. It is Chucky doing Chucky. Now, the other thing that we have going on is this story. We already know they're working on a season 2. The season ends with a lot of questions. Where are these characters going? Where is the story going? We thought we were going this way, but we may not be. We might be going some other direction. And that's another thing, too. I'm going to backtrack a bit, is that there's a lot of plot twists in here. You think you know where one character is going, and it totally flip-flops on you, and you start to like one character and then not like that character, or the character you didn't like you end up liking. It's a lot of back and forth, and it messes with your emotions. And that's the kind of interaction I like, because when you start a series or a movie or anything like that, and you're stuck with the same emotion and the same attachment or feel for a character through the whole thing, that feeling or attachment to that character can start to fizzle out. But when you get characters who are switching up their roles or their attitudes or their intentions, you get a different perspective of that character, and it keeps things interesting, and you get a lot of that in this. It definitely helps keep your attention in the series and on the characters. But there is a lot of returning characters from the movies. We got Miko, we got Tiffany. I mean, we already know that Andy and Kyle are back, so this really helps it feel like a big screen movie stretched out into a TV series. So all I can say, summing this review up, is that if you love horror movies, if you love Chucky even just a little bit, definitely watch this series. You'll absolutely love it. Is it perfect from a critic standpoint? No. Is it perfect from a fan standpoint? Absolutely. I couldn't find any flaws with it. Again, I'm not a professional critic, so I'm not going to look at it from a critic standpoint. I'm going to look at it from a fan standpoint, and I enjoyed it. I think you will too. But do me a favor, let me know down in the comments what you thought of the series if you've seen it. Don't throw any spoilers down there. We don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. Drop a like on the video for me. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm Kevin, and I'll see you at the concession stands.